but we had to have a gut check of what is our job. Is it to make sure there's, minimal delays or minimal cancellations, or is our job to make sure we make the hard decisions to continue to keep the airspace safe?
And that is Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy on this day 37 of the government shutdown, the longest in history. The secretary revealing that the FAA is now planning to cut 10% of U.S. flights at 40 major airports beginning tomorrow morning, something he warned us about weeks ago. Senate Democrats, meanwhile, divided on whether to strike a deal with Republicans and reopen government, some viewing Tuesday's election victories as validation of their stance during the shutdown. Others considering Senate Majority Leader John Thune's offer to hold a vote on Obamacare subsidies, see where it goes, in exchange for supporting a clean CR, continuing resolution. Senator Bernie Sanders, meanwhile, is saying that any deal that the Democrats make with the Republicans would be, quote, bad policy and politically harmful to Democrats. Joining me now is Oklahoma Congressman Kevin Hern, is the chairman of the House Republican Policy Committee. Mr. Chairman, good to see you. I think that will not go over well with those people who are working without a paycheck right now, that Bernie Sanders is concerned about what this is going to mean for the Democrats politically.
Well, Maria, thanks for having me. Much has been made by the elections on Tuesday, but I would say the real headline there is how far left. As President Trump said, we've passed socialism now. We've gone straight to communism as he look at the mayor of New York City. And now you've got Bernie Sanders is emboldened, as well as the progressive squads and other. And the real narrative here is the Democrat Party is in total disarray. You have two moderates that won the two blue state governors' elections, New Jersey and Virginia. But now you have the Democrat Party has to deal with the mayor of New York City, and Chuck Schumer didn't even endorse it.
Schumer did not endorse, and Kathy Hochul endorsed Mamdani, but Mamdani did not endorse Kathy Hochul, which I thought was really interesting. What do you think it's going to look like in terms of New York policy? Because there are a number of things that Mamdani has brought up that he wants to do that he has no authority to do, like freezing the rent, like, eliminating bus fares and having free buses and challenging Con Ed's proposed utility rate increases. All of this falls under the state. So will Kathy Hochul, do you think, work with Mamdani to get all of this stuff done? Free grocery stores.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a challenge for him. I think Albany is going to push back big time on what he wants to do in New York. But I think the more important story here is what he said to get elected. And the turnout was abysmal for, even for Cuomo. When you look at 65% of the voters in New York City are Democrats, only 10 or 11% are Republicans. And he barely got over 50%. That tells you a lot of Democrats are concerned about him as well. And so, to do everything he wants to do is truly about communist action, socialist action, Marxist actions. I think probably, your colleague yesterday on the 5 said it the best. We have to start describing what Marxism is and socialism is. I think everybody gets what communism is, but we're seeing this in America now, and it's playing out in our largest city in the nation. So the Democrats are going to have to deal with this as they go forward. It's going to be a real challenge for them.
So what are your expectations then for this shutdown? Do you think it ends this week, tomorrow, or next week?
Well, they certainly were emboldened by the New York City race. And, I thought last week that once they had their wins under their belt, so to speak, I don't think there were any big surprises, quite frankly, what happened Tuesday. Even in California, where you have, super majorities in the their legislative process and to get Prop 50 passed. So we thought it would, be later this week. It looks like now it could be even next week. Bernie Sanders has hijacked the party now. So they've got a real problem. Chuck Schumer needs to be a leader. Back in March, he supported the clean CR, the same one today, the Biden level spending. And today he's not, because he's fearful of that very group. And so he is afraid, he's scared to death that he's going to lose his seat and he's going to be primaried, as well as many others in the Democrat Party right now in their leadership. I don't think Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries ever votes to open the government.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible that this small but loud group, the extreme of the left, has pretty much hijacked the party, haven't they?
They have. And, I think Bill Clinton reminded the Democrat Party back in the day you had to come to the center to win. They don't believe so, meaning the Bernie Sanders AOCs of the world. They think going far, far left is even better than staying toward the middle and governing for most of America.
Yeah. Let me get your take on the president's legal team defending the use of emergency tariff powers yesterday in this historic Supreme Court hearing. The president did not attend, but Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer were there. And Bessent posted this on X. President Trump has used the IEEPA authority to address the fentanyl crisis, bring back U.S. from the edge on trade policy, secure rare earths from China, and curtail the purchases of Russian oil. All urgent national security issues. I'll get all the details coming up when U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer joins us in about 30 minutes and 8 a.m. this morning, Mr. Chairman. But how do you feel about this? Do you want Congress to have the authority over the president to institute these tariffs? And what if the Supreme Court goes against the president on this?
Well, I sit on Ways and Means, and we have authority over trade. But what we've seen over the years, short of USMCA and NAFTA, before that, there's been very few trade deals. And the Democrats are historically protectionists. They don't want any kind of free trade. They want to protect the union workers. But that's all been flipped on its head. The Republican Party now stands for everyday workers. And President Trump is trying to do everything he can to get manufacturing back to America. He's trying to save American lives with curtailing the fentanyl problem. And quite frankly, Maria, we've never in our history of our country ever seen an adversary like China. Somebody who's an economic power like we've never experienced, has the military that we've never experienced, and has their tentacles in everywhere around us, around the world. And the president, short of bombing people, has to use tariffs to get people to the table, countries to the table, to be able to negotiate with them. So it's going to be a real challenge. We'll see what the Supreme Court says. I mean,
it's incredible the amount of money that the president has been able to generate, and that is now being talked about as cutting into the deficit and debt. $150 to $200 billion this year alone. Democrats, of course, scored all those victories in 4 major elections Tuesday night. Not only the New York City mayoral race, as we've discussed, but the governor's races in New Jersey, Virginia, the passage of California Prop 50 redistricting measure. We've been talking about the potential exodus from blue states to red states due to far left policies and taxes. What do you think about this? I mean, look at this. New York has lost 1.7 million people from 2012 to 2022. California down 1.6 million. Illinois down 881,000 and New Jersey down 350,000. Where are they going? They're going to red states that have either no income tax or flat tax. Your thoughts on whether or not this picks up and where you believe people will move?
Yeah, the model of America is the model of the world. When you have mobility, the ability to move and lessen your costs, your expenses, the regulatory environment you're in, you're going to do so. And you're seeing that, quite frankly, across America right now, moving from New York, moving from California, both lost a seat for the first time in their history to Congress. But this is also around the world. This is what President Trump knows. If you make a country less regulated, if you lower the taxes, if you make the people more free, companies and people around the world are going to want to come here. And he sees it. It's a basic tenet of business. You lessen the burdens, you put in an environment where you want business to be involved, and you're going to come here. And, this is why the president is pushing so hard on the Senate. He's saying out loud what Republicans across America are saying. We put you in charge in the House, the Senate, and the White House, and we cannot even get our military funded without extraordinary measures. We can't get our air traffic control funded. Therefore, Secretary Duffy is going to have to shut down the airspace. We can't get our Capitol Police and other border police funded. And certainly now 42 million Americans are going hungry because of what the Senate Democrats are doing. Chuck Schumer needs to get the government open. Senator Thune has got to figure out what we're going to do to make sure we abide by what the American voters did back in November, which is put Republicans in charge of everything. All
right. We will leave it there. Congressman, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks very much for weighing in on all of that. Kevin Hern joining us. We'll see you soon.